What did he do? Go
And then Brown's right there.
Did he get out of the ministry?
And have since I was like 11.
All right, y'all, everybody ready?
I know, we were there, yeah. Yeah, we've got
Okay.
Sunday afternoon.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting. We do have a quorum present tonight, and first on the agenda is the invocation, so if everybody will please rise. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day you've given us. We thank you for all of these folks that come to do the work of the city. We thank you for everybody that's come here to participate. Lord, we ask you to watch over us, help us make good, sound decisions, and give us traveling mercies as we go to our homes tonight. We ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, next on the agenda is our time for citizens to have a chance to make a statement. So we'll do that. I just want to remind everybody that in these council meetings, it's a time for you to make a statement. You'll have 2 minutes. It's not a question and answer time, and we will we'll keep remind you gently when you get to the end of your time. We ask you to come up, speak, say your name, so we'll know who you've done, and then after you've done that, your time will start. And Miss Donya Langston has an alarm to go off, or Sonia. We're double teaming tonight. So anyway, Miss Langston, if you will call our folks and we'll proceed.
Yes, sir. Vic McDonald.
Hello, I am Vic McDonald, editor of the Clinton Chronicle and a member of your award-winning newspaper staff since 2012. I rise this evening to address agenda item 14. It's been reported that the Clinton Police Department on January 26 entered into an agreement of support with the Federal Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. My question is a simple yes or no. Is this the intergovernmental agreement under discussion in agenda item 14?
Agenda item 14 is the first reading of an ordinance amending the subdivision regulations within the city of Clinton about streets and other matters.
No, it's the executive session.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's 15.
No, we amended.
They put on the agenda.
We haven't
Because
used
of the removal
They
of
took
one
off
of
number
the
12, so we
agenda
got a
items.
new agenda, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
They didn't give me.
yes.
It's
I don't
sent
know.
to us by mail,
Pardon?
email.
That's what it's about, right?
That's item 14 in executive session.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Is this the intergovernmental agreement with ICE?
Yes, I think that's what we,
I'm not asking for a question and answer session. Clintonians are not allowed to have those with you, the city council. My question is simple, yes or no? Thank you. If the answer is yes, I would encourage you to have this discussion in open session. The agreement apparently has been in force for over a month, and as yet, as far as I know, no public disclosure has ever been made. The brown people of Clinton certainly deserve to know if they should be carrying their papers with them at all times. The brutal and repressive tactics of ICE, combined with the squalid conditions of their detention centers, have no place afflicting our city. It is unlikely that we will see an ICE crackdown because South Carolina is a red state, but if we do, Citizens are entitled to know how their police will be involved. You can accomplish that goal, public information, by moving this discussion out of executive session. There is no legal requirement that you receive legal notice, advice, or hear about a contract in closed session. In fact, as it relates to the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, as a community journalist of 50 years experience, I would say talking about some abstract governmental agreement does violate your obligation to give the specific reason for a closed session. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and, take his notes. Okay.
Henry Jones.
Good evening, City Council members.
Good evening.
My name is Henry Jones. I'm with the National Veterans Agriculture Association. I would like to take the time to say thank you for your support last year on the grant program. We was able to replace our pallets in our irrigation system. We built new racks in there, and we're going to have an overhead system for our greenhouses for our starts this year. So I wanted to take the time and say thank you for your support last year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad it's working out. Okay.
Diane Bird Anderson.
Good evening.
As a citizen of Lawrence County and a resident of Clinton, I urge you to please oppose any contractual agreement or policies that you will take on in any way this evening regarding the citizens of this town that will harm them or would negatively affect their quality of life. This includes plans to build a facility or a detention center by or with the federal government. I would thank you, and I hope you consider it and make a wise decision.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, that's everything.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we need to approve the minutes from January 8th and February 2nd, so I'll entertain a motion to get that on the floor.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Cook,
Second.
second from Ms. Williams. Any changes, any additions, deletions we need to make? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no, and the motion carries. Okay. All right, we have proclamations that we need to make. Is item number 7. We're going to declare March as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in the city of Clinton. Also, March is National Women's History Month in the city of Clinton. And then April as Fair Housing Month in the city of Clinton. I'll entertain a motion to proclaim all 3.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Kirkendall.
Second.
I think Ms. Walsh seconded first. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, and we are so proclaimed. All right, Mr. Metters,
Thank you, Mayor.
go to you.
Next item on the agenda is for us to hear a presentation from Ms. Tara Glenn. She is the Associate Director with the Lawrence County Disabilities and Special Needs Board.
Thank you all for allowing us this time to come before you and celebrate this month, to celebrate some very special people in our community. I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Jason Tavener, our Executive Director, and allow him to give you some information on what we do, who we are, and who we support here locally.
Thank you, Tara. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As a guy from across the road down in Lawrence, I always found it's good to bring somebody from Clinton to you guys to make sure we pave the way. But no, seriously, Tara's a part of our team, and she's doing a great job with us, and so appreciate her and her contributions. But thank you again for this opportunity. It's March. It's early in March, and we're coming before you to as for the proclamation that you had there is March Disability Awareness Month. Just a reminder, I hope you have invitation. We have a program tomorrow morning. If you have the energy bright and early, we'll have coffee and food, and we'll be over at the Ag Center in Lawrence. Love for you to come participate in that event as well if you have time. But tonight's about the proclamation, and what we like to highlight, of course, to share that we're supporting about 600 people in our communities. We have staff, about 200 staff members now, give or take. But we also like to recognize the unpaid, the caregivers, the families during this time, those folks that are providing for their loved ones. I know many of you probably interacted with Witten Center right here in Clinton. Of course, similar work initiatives, but we're a community element where they're more of an institutional focus. But we still have the same passion as supporting people. That's what our mission has been and continues to be. We'll like to share real quickly tomorrow, share some big news, and I'll mention it tonight just in case you're not able to make it. You'll hear more about this. But tomorrow we will proclaim that Lawrence County Disabilities and Special Needs Board will change our name. And we will be calling ourselves Pathwise. We'll share more about why that is, but I want you to know it doesn't change our commitment to our communities. We're still here for the same reasons. We're just growing and hopefully in more independent supports, and you'll see more about that as we go forward. But tonight, thank you for your support. As always, we love working with the City of Clinton and what you do to help our folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to
Hang on.
add, I'm very excited that you're adding on an early intervention group to your services. That's fantastic and highly needed. I'm sorry, I'm going to be with some of our special friends in the morning, so I won't make it. But
No, thank you for.
I appreciate all the work you do. It's our citizens. They're citizens just like every other citizen in this area, and often, like you said, their families are overlooked, definitely underpaid for all the work they put in. So I appreciate all the work your organization does. Thank you.
Well, thank you for highlighting that. That's one of the building dreams. If you see that in the community, that's our early intervention program. So thank you for mentioning that. And while I'm plugging, we're also supporting, we have occupational therapy now, which is a new service, partnering with PC here. So we've got wonderful opportunities in our community. Just great things happening. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is a presentation by Ms. Josie Kate Hopfier. She is the Director of Secondary Education for Lawrence County School District 56. And she is going to speak on the capacity of our schools in our district. Some of this has come up when we've had developments come in, and so she's going to kind of give us a presentation of, where we stand with students in our schools.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. You should have, hopefully, at your desk or area, a stapled packet of 2 pages. I'm going to start with that top page that just gives an overview of District 56 enrollment trends. As you can see by looking at that graph, for the most part, we have declined in our student enrollment within our school system. There are a few years where we have popped back up in number, but overall, this chart starts in the year 2008. If you track our enrollment from 2008 to where we are today, we are down 655 students overall, which means, of course, we have capacity, or that at least that number of students who we could adequately serve within our schools. But I wanted to share that with you. In 2008, our enrollment was a little over 3,300 in terms of students in 4K through grades 12. Right now, as of the day that I ran this, which was at the end of last week, we are sitting at 2,659 students, which is a loss, as I said, of 655 students from where this graph starts in the year 2008. So I wanted to share that with you. And then if you flip a page, you will actually see a breakdown by school. The gray chart, or the gray bar, indicates what the capacity, what we would feel confident in the capacity to be of a particular building. So for example, at Clinton High School, student capacity, we would feel comfortable with 1,400 students in that building. Right now, the student enrollment within that building is 782. So that is mapped out for each individual school to show you kind of what the capacity could be versus where we are today. You will see that at every school we do have room, significant room, with the exception of, I believe, Eastside is where we have the least wiggle room in terms of capacity. And there are some creative things the district could do if we reached the threshold where we did not feel comfortable that we could accommodate any more students. But overall, in looking at our trends and knowing how we've trended the past 10, 15 years, we do not feel like there's any immediate concern in terms of us being able to house more students and serve the student population. We have before. Again, we're 650 plus kids less now than we were years ago. So we have done it and have been able to do it well. And so we're not in any position right now that we feel like there's a cause for concern in terms of enrollment. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I will go ahead and put it out there with, you know, all of the ideas that we have tossed around. Should the time come where we need to consider something different, we are not anticipating having to build another school. Again, it's just creative ideas that we have within the buildings that we have that could make a difference in terms of the number of students at each school.
Thank you. And questions?
So how many students typically you have in a class per teacher? How is that?
Well, the state says you can have up to 30 in most classrooms, however, and when builders give you a capacity, what they do is they configure based on every available classroom space, and they figure 30 kids in that space all day long, which is not what we would do in a school. Obviously, teachers have planning periods. We don't feel like 30 students is conducive to a classroom. We base these numbers of our capacity on the number of 25 in a classroom.
Per teacher?
Per teacher.
So that's one teacher in a classroom?
Correct. One teacher for every 25 students.
So how are we with our enrollment for teachers? How are we?
Where we are, I can say this year we have all certified teachers. We have been very fortunate. We do not have any teachers who we have hired who are international or virtual. There are lots of districts around us that have to do that, and we have not. We have been successful so far in finding personnel who are either already certified or have worked with the State Department of Education to be working towards their certification.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Ms. Hoppier, as far as Clinton Elementary and Eastside, I know a lot of these new subdivisions are, you know, coming up or whatever in those areas. Right now, are we, the schools like it used to be, is it own area, or no, you can pick what school the kid goes to?
It is, and what we are doing for this year is we have, well, this upcoming year for the 26-27 school year, we actually have a committee that has been put together. And so now as applications come in when parents want to choose a school, we as a committee are having to evaluate that because that is a piece of this. Several of these students at Eastside are not actually zoned for Eastside, for example. They may be zoned for another school. And so we're having to consider that and make consider each case on a case-by-case basis of whether or not we approve their request to attend a different school than they may be zoned for.
But the students that are doing that right now, for this, my nephew is at Eastside, are they got to be grandfathered in, or no, he'll have to go back to his zoning?
We have not made that decision yet. Okay. We're still working on that piece of that.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mayor,
Yes,
it's up here.
Yes.
The charter school at Thornwell, how did that affect our numbers in the public education side?
It did pull from us. I don't have an exact number. I know when it originally opened, when we pulled those numbers, it seemed to affect Lawrence 55 more so than 56. Right. But certainly there are students who did leave us and who are attending Thornwell. I just don't know the exact number.
Okay. And the other question, at one point in time, if I'm right now, you may correct me though if I'm wrong, we were able to count the school at Witten Center in our numbers. And we no longer can do that,
Correct. These numbers do not reflect those
Okay.
students. These are truly our
But
students.
2008, had that already occurred at that point in time?
No, that would not have been a factor in 2008. We were not including those students
Okay,
either.
perfect. Okay, good deal. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much. That's good information for us to have as we're looking
Thank
to the
you.
future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is for Mr. John Loomis with Upstate Alliance to give us a presentation on economic development. So,
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Manager. Thank you so much for inviting me here. First of all, I want to thank you all for your support over all the years for the Upstate Alliance. We are the regional economic development group over the upstate 10 counties, Lawrence County, City of Clinton being a part of that. And what our job is to go out and recruit new business and industry into the region that will hopefully land here. So we're the lead source for John Coleman at LCDC and then also the City of Clinton. So thank you all for your support. Just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on here and about some of the importance of economic development. In 2025, upstate South Carolina added $7.6 billion in new capital investment and about 5,000 new jobs. Lawrence County celebrated 5 project announcements, $125 million and 250 jobs created. And then in 2026, already $165 million in capital investment and 209 jobs announced. Some of these, and I know of a couple of specific ones, are in the City of Clinton, and I think Lawrence County and Clinton are doing a really great job in economic development. The upstate region grew 10% between 2020 and 2024. And this occurred because of our quality of life and job opportunities. Lawrence County grew 4.5% during that same period, and Clinton grew 2.9% during that same period. So Lawrence County and Clinton a little slower on the growth than the rest of the upstate region as a whole. Our regional growth is constant and increasing. Our location in the heart of the southeastern United States positions us for unlimited economic prosperity in the coming decades. The City of Clinton is poised to take advantage of this economic growth. Workforce is the top factor and really almost always the #1 factor that we run into when companies are considering our region. And a successful workforce needs a wide range of quality housing options in order to be here. The companies we talk with almost always talk about housing when they come to visit with us, companies and site consultants, and future housing growth in areas. This has gotten to be one of the key questions that we get. When workers can't live near jobs due to lack of housing options, local businesses and industries can lose current workers and potential workers. In 2026, talent attraction and affordable housing are critical, interconnected pillars of economic development. Housing has emerged as one of the most pressing economic development challenges facing communities across the U.S. The gap between housing costs and income levels continues to widen, creating barriers to workforce attraction and retention while limiting overall economic growth. With high living costs straining the workforce, cities are prioritizing housing as a workforce issue to prevent talent flight and support business growth. Affordable, quality housing is key to communities being competitive in the future, and cities like Clinton can take advantage of this in attracting and retaining talent in a more cost-friendly environment. So in other words, people are going to look to cities like Clinton to move to because generally the cost factors would be lower than, for example, the city of Greenville, Atlanta, Charlotte, somewhere like that. Limited housing supply and affordability gaps can lower economic growth by constraining those who can live and work in an area. The misallocation between workforce demand and housing availability can weaken productivity, inhibiting the ability of businesses to staff and scale up appropriately, and reducing the viability of a location for business relocation or growth. Without addressing this issue, municipalities and regions may struggle to build the talent pipeline that fuels economic competitiveness. In a competitive landscape where regions and states race to attract both talent and business, the value of housing affordability and availability is becoming as important to the local workforce as skilled workers are to the employees. Inadequate housing supply hampers workforce mobility, limits job opportunities, and negatively impacts a region's economic competitiveness. Also, housing development rooftop counts are a critical metric for economic and commercial development, as retailers frequently require a certain density of residential units to justify new locations. Restaurants, shops, grocery stores, and destination shopping amenities like Costco focus on housing and population growth in determining new locations. And this has a big effect on quality of life. So, 4 major points. 1, having a wide range of housing options in your city is key to retaining and attracting talent. 2, a strong workforce is key for a strong economy, and a quality workforce will come to locations with a wide range of housing options. Quality of life amenities follow population growth, and people follow quality of life. 3, a community is either growing or shrinking. There is no neutral. Clinton is poised to take advantage of our region's economic growth. As you see, the growth down I-385 and I-26. I mean, Clinton is definitely can take advantage of that. Your city is wonderful, beautiful. You have all the things that you need here: a great downtown, a college, great people, number one. And for that to continue and be part of the future economy, I think housing is going to be a really important part of that. I'll be glad to take any questions if we have time, Mr. Mayor. I don't want to
Questions, anybody?
anything.
Mr. Loomis.
So, am I understanding you correctly? You're saying empty rooftop will bring businesses to Clinton? Because
Empty-
if you got,
Ma'am.
we got 5 developers going on, so if you got empty rooftops, so empty rooftop is going to bring,
Not an empty rooftop. I mean, it
right,
has to
so
have
we
somebody
got to
living
have that
within.
population.
Yeah, you have to have the population and the rooftops. I used to work for a commercial developer, and we did grocery stores. And what we did is we counted, the houses that had people living in them in order to figure out where we were going to put a grocery store. And if you didn't have enough, they weren't going to come.
Right. And the population is a key part of that, not so
Key
much.
part of that.
Yeah, it's a key part, not so much of having a bunch of rooftops.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't
So
have people
having-
without rooftops, though.
But having empty
ma'am.
rooftops also bring
I think-
about,
And there's a factor of how many people live in each, that they use, like 2.5 people per home or something like that they use.
Thank you. Any other questions?
What trends are you seeing as far as, like, is there increased interest in this area from industry, jobs, business,
Definitely. I mean,
restaurants?
Clinton's done a really good job with spec buildings and, having industry locate within the city, but it's not just about the industries that locate here, it's the ones that are in the region. I mean, and people love to live in cities and have great cities to come in, and these are the areas that are going to continue to grow. But yeah, the trend line, we're growing, and we're going to continue to grow in the upstate region.
As far as, the argument about putting the cart before the horse, or what is the horse, the driving factor? Do you see housing developments being built, those filling up, then industry coming, or vice versa? What is the order of operations?
Well, I mean, I think in what we do, industries are looking at current housing, but also, future housing developments that are looking at an area. I mean, I'm very much of a free market person, and I say that I think that developers are going to come to regions that they see are going to be growing, and they're going to be able to sell houses within them. I feel like it's the market drives that, and but from what we do, we need to show that there is population, but also plans for additional growth when companies are coming in.
Mr. Leonard's question, as far as the industries and things that have located here within the last year to 3 years, has any kind of statistical information been received or gathered of how many people in that particular industry, where they live?
Not specifically from our organization, other than looking at, we can see county data, we can see housing start data and things like that. I mean, I'm sure that can be tracked, and we could certainly try to do that, but.
I think it'd be interesting information to have, to know within the industries that have located in Lawrence County, how many people truly are living in Lawrence County versus Greenville County, Spartanburg, Newberry, things of that nature, to see who's coming in and going out.
We have data that shows, the number of people that drive in and out per day.
Right.
But, okay. I can work to look at some
I
of that
think
data.
it's very valuable information to have, not only just for us, but for everybody.
Good point.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions? We thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate
Thank you.
your
Again,
your
thanks for your
ideas
support.
and this valuable information for us as we move to the future.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is to recognize the police officer of the year, and she is also the employee of the year, Ms. Jessica Fowler.
Jessica, thank you for what you've done. You've obviously done a good job as police officer of the year, and obviously everybody, all your peers voted for you for employee of the year. So you're doing the right things, and you're the kind of folks that we want working for us. So. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Mayor and Council, item number 12 on the agenda, I'm going to ask that we postpone this item until April the 2nd. We have a little more work to do on this before we bring it to council.
Okay, so do we need a motion to table it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to table item number 12.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Cook. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Walsh. Are there questions? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And we are tabling number 12.
I do have a question, because did we get a new agenda, item number 12? Because when Mr. Vick was saying about the executive session, that was a different item number. So which agenda are we going by here?
We sent out a new agenda
Right.
last Friday, and that's the agenda that we're going by.
So item number 12,
Is first reading of an ordinance amending the zoning designation. That's item number 12. And that's the one that we're taking.
Dudley Lane.
Yeah.
Dudley Lane, okay. So we tabled 2. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Y'all, you're right. Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, the next item on the agenda is for council to consider first reading of an ordinance amending the subdivision regulations within the city of Clinton related to streets and other matters related thereto. Mr. Kirkendall actually asked a question, I believe at the last council meeting, regarding how we handle streets in these developments that wanted to be brought into the city's street inventory. And so this item will change some regulations in our ordinance in a couple areas. If you will turn to the ordinance in your packet, and let's look at chapter number 3 and item B under 3.1.19 or 3.1.9, required improvements. If you can see on the testing side, it used to read all required compaction and material tests.
Hang on one second.
Okay.
I was on the wrong page.
No, me too.
Did that order in the packet?
It's after the plastic sheet,
After the plastic sheet.
All right, it's after the,
and then turn to the second page of that.
all right. Thank you. I'm on the
Thank
right page now.
Me too.
So repeating that, it's in chapter 3, under section 3.1, 3.1.9, required improvements. Item B, testing. The former, or the ordinance now reads, all required compaction and material tests and inspections shall be performed at the expense of the developer by a qualified registered engineer. So the Planning Commission has met in February and made the recommendation that we change that to an independent contractor. That would be a contractor that is not associated with the development. So we would bring a contractor in to do all the testing for those roads during the construction phases through paving. And then
Who
if
would
you-
bring that in, the city or the developer?
We will search and find a contractor that we would like to use, and then the developer would have to use that contractor and would be responsible for paying that contractor for their services.
So we be in control. is
That's
what-
right.
Okay.
But that's only if the developer would like for those roads to become part of the city's road inventory.
Okay.
And if you will turn to the next page, on page 3, under C, inspections, the old ordinance ended with final acceptance inspection. But Planning Commission has added item number 7. The final engineering report shall be submitted to the Public Works Director and the Planning Commission prior to the Commission's recommendation to City Council on acceptance of the streets, prior to construction of additional phases of the development. So if the development is brought to the Planning Commission and to Council as, say, 2 phases, so they complete phase 1, they have to follow these new guidelines if they are approved before they can move on to their second phase.
Okay.
So, Mr. Meadows, with the independent person, once it brought in, then it would be the city responsibility to repair if the roads are damaged, like coming out of a developer? Is the city responsible to repair that road? Because I'm referring to like the road up here, up here by where Domino's Pizza, how bad that road is, and you told me that was the developer.
That is the developer on that. The city never included those in their inventory because these regulations were not followed, and we go by SCDOT regulations for road improvements and construction, and those roads years ago did not follow those guidelines.
So with putting this in place now, the city would be responsible going forward?
Well, what happens is the developer comes in, builds the development, puts the roads in, and if they request the city up front to accept those roads into their inventory, they need to follow these guidelines in order for us to consider accepting those. As part of that also is the developer has to put up a bid bond on it. And that bid bond is a percentage of the construction cost of those roads. And I believe I'm correct, that bid bond has to remain in effect for 3 years before the bond goes away. And that, by 3 years, we can tell how good the roads are. And with these independent inspections, we're gonna bring that engineer in to do all the testing, and he will sign off on them and return those reports to the Public Works Director and also the chairman of the Planning Commission before they recommend that mayor and council consider taking those roads into our inventory.
And this comes as a recommendation from the Planning Commission?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the development has to be in a complete form before it can be turned over to the city for our inventory?
In sections.
That
All right.
concerns me because, what I see is you still got major trucks, heavy trucks going in and out. And if we bring in that group of roads and they're still developing a good bit of the development, then that's gonna bring danger.
Well, we can, if council sees fit, we can take that back for more discussion. But as it is written right now, it would, those inspections would have to be done prior to moving forward with another section of that development.
So the developers have a choice. They have a decision that they can or cannot. I mean, that they would want the city to do this, or they would want to continue to,
That's correct. In some areas, I don't know of any place here, but there are homeowners associations in Greenville and other places in those developments that, the homeowners association collects fees and they take care of their roads within that development. This is only if the development asks the city to take them into their inventory.
I think it would pay us to be very mindful of at what percentage of completion would we accept that.
You also have to keep in consideration that when they begin the second phase of a development, or third phase of the development, they have got the bid bond up to take care of any repairs they have to make that may be torn up or damaged during the second phase construction.
So did you say that was 3 years after the final date, all the construction's done? 3
Yes.
years bid bond? So does that address what Gary's brought up? I mean, they've got to take care
I
of it
think
for
it
3
should,
years.
but if you need more clarification, we can certainly get it.
We can amend this if we were to vote for this.
This is only first reading.
First reading,
Yes.
so.
yeah,
and
we need
can-
more information.
Okay.
I have a question about 7. To me, if I'm a developer, it looks like right in the middle, like after their first phase or whatever, then they have to pause everything to go to the planning commission, then pause everything until we can approve it as well.
Let's see, the engineer report shall be submitted to the Public Works Director and the Planning Director prior to the Commission's recommendation. Yeah, it would have to go back to the way this is written. It would have to go to the Public Works Director and
And then
the
planning.
Planning Commission Chairman. and then it be brought to mayor and council.
That, to me, that seems like it could be quite a delay between the phases.
Well, there again, you know, if it's passed on first reading with those amendments or recommendation that we take a look at it in planning commission again before we bring it on second reading, we can do so.
I've got 2 points on 319B. Even if we do pass first reading, I think it needs to be a little bit clearer that the city is the one responsible for obtaining that independent qualified registered engineer. I think that could be misinterpreted the way it's in a court of law if it's challenged. So I think it needs to say that the city is responsible for getting that independent qualified registered engineer.
But that the developer pay for it.
Yeah, the expense of the developer is still okay. It's just after you go to the next part of that statement, I'm not sure it's clear and has a vagueness to it.
Okay.
To Danny's point, though, about number 7, we're only talking about accepting the roads. The phase 2, phase 3 could continue on.
That's correct.
That has nothing to do with us. We're not involved in that. We're talking about only the roads. So it should not hold up, but we may need clarity in that part of that also, that it doesn't stall or eliminate or prevent from phase 2 starting or phase 3 starting. It's just the final inspection report for us to accept the roads from whatever phases have been completed and that they are asking us to bring in.
That may be how it was intended, Danny.
I know, but I agree with you. There is a little bit of clarity that needs to be there.
I just, if we're gonna cause, 45 days or whatever,
Yeah.
construction just coming to a halt, that's not
Yeah.
good for anybody.
Absolutely.
And I'm reading this at the bottom. In addition, once notified, the director will inspect the quality of the construction for each stage within 2 working days.
Oh, and it does say, the next sentence does say that about.
And then the inspection must be conducted prior to starting construction on the next phase.
So that, to your point, Danny, that's right there. So it's wrong, we need to clarify that better.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
Thank you.
so, all right, we have a motion on the table. We want clarification on some of it.
Yes, sir.
We can pass first reading and then come back and fix add the, before we make it an ordinance, we can fix all of the
We can present
things that
clarification.
present it and then see if that works for everybody.
That's correct.
Okay? Is that,
Will the planning commission be involved in hearing our thoughts on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I would think so.
They will be, is the agenda already been put out for next week? We can add this to the agenda tomorrow for them to take up next Tuesday night.
Okay, that'll put some clarity on it one way or the other.
And then we can use the tape of this, meeting to play back to them to get their clarification on the things that you want here.
And do we have an option or a good option at the city to, to me, as council, we're just gonna hear from someone at the city that's gonna come in front of us and say, yeah, the roads are great, and then we vote yes on it.
The way that's gonna happen, Mr. Smith, is we will have the engineer do all their testing and sign off certifying that those roads were installed per DOT specifications. And he will present that to the planning commission chairman and the public works director. And we will go on the engineer certification. We don't have an engineer on staff. So that's why we will use a third-party engineer to do this. And we will go on his recommendation.
Right, and that, my personal opinion is I would be okay with that being the final sign-off, rather than us waiting for the next council meeting and us hearing from the engineer, and then saying, okay, we agree with the engineer.
Well, it suits me to have the engineer sign off on it. And then at the next council meeting or whenever it came up to, the question of bringing those roads into our inventory, that the public works director make that presentation to you.
And that makes sense. I'm thinking about it now as bringing it into our inventory.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Those are all good thoughts to move forward on, so, so then we'll call the question and say, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, no.
And this is for the first reading.
Yes, first reading. Okay, and everybody voted? Okay, motion carries, thank you. Okay.
That completes the action items we have on the agenda tonight, sir.
Okay, now we need to entertain a motion to enter executive session for receipt of legal advice and discussion of a contractual matter related to an intergovernmental agreement. I'll entertain a motion if that's the will of council.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Kirkendall. Is there a second from Ms. Walsh? No. Paul? All in?
Well, I do have a question. How we going into get legal advice and our attorney is not here?
He is under the weather and he will be on with us via phone if we need to contact him.